Get comfy and get cozy. It's spooky story time. This spooky story also takes place in Mexico, in my parents' hometown of Jalisco. My grandpa had gifted a small house to my mom and dad when they got married. This small house sat on land that belonged to my grandpa, which he had inherited from his godmother. My dad passed this house down to my brother, which he ended up selling to my godfather. My godfather ended up tearing that old house down and he built sort of like an hacienda. The kitchen was separated. It didn't really have like a living room. It was more like a open patio. And so in order for you to get from the bathroom to your room, you had to go onto the open patio and go into the bathroom or vice versa or go into the kitchen that way. So we ended up staying at my godfather's house on a family vacation. If you're familiar with the doors of Mexico, you know that most of them have a little window which you can open. And where we stay in Mexico, it's always super hot. So I had opened the little window and I, went to go lay down. And I remember laying in the bed and I could see across the way. And across the way stood my grandpa's old house. This house is a tiny little house made out of clay, which you literally have to like bend down to like get inside the house. So this night I'm laying in bed and something told me to look across. And then if I looked across, I could see his little house. So as I'm laying there, I could see this lady leaning on the back wall of my grandpa's house. And she starts sort of approaching me. And as I'm looking at her, I could see her long dark hair, and I start looking down towards her feet, and I cannot see any feet. But at the same time, she's wearing a long white dress. And I see her getting closer and closer to me, but it's sort of like in a slow motion type of way. But this freaks me out, and I remember jumping out of the bed and slamming that little window closed. That room would get very hot, so I had to open a window. And I remember the second night, I told my then partner to stay up with me because I was just too afraid to go to sleep. The second night, the exact same thing happens. This time when I seen it, it looked like it was coming out of the back wall of my grandpa's old house. And the more I would look at it, it looked like it wanted to sort of approach me, if that makes sense. It was like floating its way directly to me. And that second night, I just screamed. And I remember telling my partner, like, shut the door or shut the window now. And again, the third night. And by this time, we weren't even thinking about it. I remember just laying there and looking over and seeing the exact same lady. And I thought to myself, like, no way that she's trying to communicate something to me. So my grandpa ended up going to the house. And by this time, my parents already knew what was happening, what I had seen. And so we all sat there and we kind of just started talking about it. And the whole time I'm talking to my grandpa, he's kind of just like, okay, listening, but not once does he seem scared. And out of nowhere, my grandpa just says, that's my madrina, mija. That's my godmother. He said there's nothing to be afraid of. He said that he had seen her before and he never feared of her. And so we start talking about it, and he starts telling me how that land belonged to her and she was a wealthy woman. And then he tells me, I think she's trying to communicate something with you. And we both just sat there and kind of pondered. And he says, maybe she wants to tell you where the gold is at. And I start laughing. And he starts getting very serious. And he says, yeah, the gold. He said, I know that she has something buried around here. He said, because the times that I've seen her, I know that she's trying to communicate to me about something that she wants me to do for her. And he starts saying how he's old already, how he can't be digging up any gold. So he tells me to do it. And I kind of just joke about it. And, I tell my grandpa I could never do that to your house. Like, your house is an older house already, I don't want to break it down or anything. And he's very insistent, and he continues to tell me, like, just do it, go for it. And we didn't, we kind of just continued our vacation. I didn't see anything anymore, and we kind of just left it as is. But months later, I don't know exactly how long, somebody ended up asking him if he could take a metal detector. And for my parents' sake or my dad's sake, I'm not gonna mention exactly who it was, but it was a relative to my dad. And so they end up taking this metal detector. And, you know, when I finally went to Mexico, my grandpa was telling me the story how they're taking the metal detector and he said it started beeping. And my grandpa had no idea, what was going on. He was not familiar with any kind of technology. So he mentions how it was beeping, and then they ended up sending him to a store to get some drinks. By the time my grandpa came back, he said that nobody was there anymore and they had patched a hole on the wall. And so he takes me to his little house and he goes shows me where this patch was where they had made a hole. And as I'm walking over there, I can see exactly where he's talking about. I can see the big patch on the wall. And my heart stops for a second because that patch, wherever they made that hole, that was the exact same place where I would see this lady kind of like lean on the wall or kind of come out of the wall. I don't know exactly what she was doing because by the time I would see her, she was already distancing herself from the wall and approaching me. And I knew this exact spot. This place was drilled in my head. And I remember looking at my grandpa, and he just looked at me and he said, Te dije, mija, I told you that gold was destined for you, and you did not dig it out. And as he told me that, like it's kind of emotional for me because I remember his eyes like tearing up, and he was like, I know that if you would have found it, you would have gave me some coins. And as I think about it, it still makes me emotional because I mean, my grandpa passed away now. But I know for sure that if I would have, done as he told me, I would have for sure, have gave him some of that gold. Like I wouldn't have been greedy enough to just kept everything for myself as he thought somebody else had done. This is a story that I'll never forget, and I will forever be grateful that I got to share that with my grandpa. And I know that he felt so happy because he really felt like his godmother had chosen me to connect with me and try to guide me to, what she wanted me to see. But unfortunately, I didn't. And, I believe things happen for a reason.
How many of you would have jumped when your grandfather said gold? Like, I was just thinking, like, yeah, that experience seeing that woman would scare me. But the moment my grandfather said gold, what goes? Goes where? I am going and finding that gold. It was just, I was listening to her story and I got a little confused because I was just like, wait, did her grandfather give her family the house? And then she mentioned two houses. And I was like, okay, maybe. Because she said her godfather, they were at her godfather's house. But her dad's, her grandfather's godmother. And I was like, wait, so did the godmother give the grandfather the little house along with all the land, and then and then her grandfather gave the bigger house to her goddad? Look, I was confused. People, put it down in the comments, explain it to me, because I was just like, wait a second, what in who house is it? Which house we talking about? And then when she was like, I was laying in bed, which was confusing to me because she was talking about the front door. I felt like she was talking about, and if you're laying in bed, usually people's beds are in their bedroom. I mean, I understand the struggle of having a bedroom or a cot in the living room. So okay, maybe that makes sense. She was laying on the cot in the living room and looked towards the front door, out the front door window, and could see the house. It was a lot. It was a lot. I'm glad she got somebody to experience and see what she was seeing with her. The moment she went back to her grandfather and told him the story of what she saw, and he was all calm, I would be like, Grandpa, why are you so calm? You already know about this? He knew exactly who it was. Because when she first said, I was like, is it your godmother? But after the story, listen to the story, it was just like, girl, yes, I would have went and found that gold. That is silly. Whoever, she was like, I ain't gonna mention who did. I was like, why she say that? And then I was just like, oh, that's why she said that, because they robbed him blind, sent him to the store. They knew what they was doing. They came, they heard the legend and was like, oh, gold? Oh, for real? Bet. Let me get a metal detector. That's silly. Who was there with your grandfather? Like, who was there? Like, I feel like some people, especially older people, need to be protected from scams and dirty people. Some people need to be protected. So, who dropped the ball on protecting your grandfather? Girl, I hate that that happened to her. That goal was meant for her. She should have followed it out. Because when she said the back wall, that's another thing I didn't understand. You looking at his house and you can see the back wall? I was just like, I think I'm confused. But I was like, let's not think about that. Let's just listen to the story, the point of the story. But yeah, friend, that sucks that he just took your grandfather's money. That was supposed to be you and your grandfather's money. He probably spent it all. He probably don't even have it now. If that makes you feel better, I feel like that would make me feel worse. Like, he just wasted money. I would have invested and made money, more money for the family. But that's just me.
I was just making my dinner. And then all of a sudden I hear a male voice at the front door call my dog over. My dog gets up and starts barking and runs over to the front door. And then all of a sudden she barks like crazy and then it just stops. I go, Luna, who is it? Oh, it's actually nobody. Nobody's home. Okay. So, yes. I'm actually home alone. I thought my brother came home for a second, and actually 2 seconds ago, my brother just called me and said that he's about to leave the gym soon and come back home. Okay. Who just called my dog?
No, no, we're not asking that question. No, no 5Ws over here. We don't do the 5Ws. That's the first one. That's the first one. That first one could get you unalive, bruh. Heck no. No, I could tell she was really scared. Saw the tears in her eyes. I've been that delusional scared. Like that delusional, like, oh my gosh, did that really happen? And I'm just laughing because I'm in disbelief, bro. That I know. I felt that. I felt that energy. I knew where she was coming from. Cause what? Luna, why you get up? Why you get up, bro? Asking the dog, who called you? Who's there? The dog sees who's there. The dog talking about, and then it stopped. Did the barking stop or did the name calling stop? What stopped, honey? I'm just, oh girl, what? What? That's the only W you need to be. For real. Like, not even, what was that? No. What? Not even what happened. Nope. Just that one what. That's all you can say. Can't say anything more than that. Friend, no. Home alone. Girl, how would I respond if that happened? If I heard a voice calling my dog? You know, I've heard a voice before. I was a good voice. That was the voice of God. I heard that and I was calm and, like, okay, But hearing a voice and like your dog is like, no, this ain't God, bro. This is something else. Pray immediately. Me praying immediately. Give me some, just be throwing it at the door. Cause why? I would tell my brother, you know what? In fact, don't go get you a snack. Don't come home yet. Let me anoint this door before you walk through it. Make sure you don't bring nothing with you. You need to pray the whole time. Girl, bye. Ain't no way I'm over here gonna be like, Lucy, who is that? I didn't change the dog's name. What's the dog's name? Lucille? I don't know. No, scary.
The story I'm about to translate includes a picture, so you may not want to watch this at night. The poster begins by telling us that his sister works at the restaurant or the hotel where they keep their copier in the basement. The sister's boss goes on to tell her that there was one night where they left a whole bunch of copies printing overnight. When they were able to check the pages, they saw one page with the image of a little girl. The image almost looked like a picture, and you could clearly see the little girl with her hands pressed up against the glass peering over. The little girl looked like she was 6 or 7 years old, but there was one unsettling thing about the picture. Her eyes were completely black. The poster tells us that it's nearly impossible for a little girl to have been in the basement of this hotel. The hotel is located in a business area and is not really kid-friendly. He also says that, fun fact, when people try to take pictures of the image, whether it be an Android or an iPhone, they often get an error message. The poster sister was really good friends with her boss, and the boss let her take the photocopied image home so that she could show her brother, where they took a picture of it with a camera. Here it is.
No. 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 Why they put the sound, bro? Why they put the sound, girl? Who took the original? No. Okay. Wait, why? How? Girl, I'm saying all the W's right now. In the how. Oh my goodness. I have so many questions that I'm a little afraid to ask, you know, because it's just like, who took the picture? Where are they now? Can I get an update? Like, it's like, what is happening? Girl, no. If it don't make sense. What happened in that basement? You know, because it don't make sense how the kid is there. Girl, bye. And why would we take? Well, I guess I wouldn't take the photo home. Honestly, I would have took a picture with my phone and show. No, I would not. I wouldn't want that on my phone. Some things I just don't want on my phone, friend. No, that was scary. I didn't like it. I didn't like that I had to see it. I didn't like the sound that came with it. I was just telling my mom the other day that I have this thing. I can't think of the word right now. It's not phobia. It's something else. Dang, I should have looked it up. Because I knew I was going to tell this story on here, but I didn't know. Like, look how things just work out. Who knew I was going to talk about this? I did, I guess. But it's like a fear, not a fear, but a dislike for noises. Like, some noises trigger a bad emotion. Like, some noises trigger a bad emotion. And I'm like, okay. I think I have that, because there's some sounds, some songs I don't like, but I don't know if this is because of that or it's just that I just don't think it's a good song. I don't understand. I don't know what that is. I don't know. But there's some songs or some sounds that I just can't do. Like with my mom, her sound is nails on a chalkboard. A lot of people are that. And like when your teeth scrape your fork, that's one of her sounds. She don't like that sound. I'm just like, but yeah, now that sound it connected that image to the sound. Oh, girl, you're doing things to me, scary things. I feel it. But yeah, no, that was scary, friend, and I hate that I had to see that. I'm glad y'all had to see it with me. Like this video. Make sure you follow all the creators. Don't forget to subscribe.